We are visitors on this planet. We are here for 90 or 100 years at the very most. During that period, we must try to do something good, something useful with our lives. If you contribute to other people's happiness, you will find the true goal, the true meaning of life. With this quote from the Dalai Lama, I would like to invite you to another episode of the second season of the heygroentje podcast. This is also going to be our last episode of this season because of a few reasons. So I would invite Daniëlle to the podcast to talk about a few reasons why this is the last episode of our podcast.
Yeah, this will be the last one.
Yeah.
And I think the main reason is that soon we will take a break from all our work.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we are expecting a baby soon. I think we shared about it on social media.
And also in the last podcast, once or twice we talked about it.
Last podcast we talked about it as well. Yeah. In the last few weeks we haven't got the time to pick up or just record our conversations around around many topics. So in all, to summarize it has been really busy with work, with workshops. Every weekend we have been giving workshops, Saturday, Sunday, fully booked. Also during the weeks we have had a lot of work.
Yeah, we just wanted to finish a lot of things before taking the break.
Right.
And I think I have that maybe a bit more than you. Yeah. But I think most women who are expecting a baby, they just want to finish things before something new comes.
Yeah, it's a nesting urge, they say.
Yeah.
And because of all that, it was not possible for us to really record as many episodes as we wanted in this podcast.
Yeah.
But we wanted to not end it abruptly, and that's why we are having this episode of the second season to stop.
And it is a bit related to everything that is happening in our life now, right?
Yeah, that's right, and that's why we chose a topic that relates to kids, to children. So, and it's our children really that expensive? That's what we are going to talk about in this topic, because this is a discussion that has been around us from ranging from friends, family, from what we see on news, even on Instagram, because if you have social media, I think people who are expecting a child or have children, they know that there is a lot of stuff that is coming on their screens because of all the algorithms and stuff.
When you start searching for baby things, everywhere are babies then online. You see so much things online.
Yeah, and that's why we thought it's an easy topic to talk about, and it's a topic where we are really into at this moment because we are so close to really actually we already have a lot of we have the basic stuff that we need, and we are in a phase where we can talk about this topic better than ever. Yeah,
and there is a reason why I wanted to talk about this topic, because when we were busy with which things are important to buy, we went to a few baby shops. You have some big baby shops in the Netherlands where you find everything you need for the baby.
It was really shocking to me, a disclaimer from my side.
It's just, for me, it was a bit more normal because I knew these shops were there and I knew that they were really big. But I've never been inside before. So for me, it was also the first time to walk inside there.
Yeah.
And we were walking around and we discussed before which things do we need? Which things do we want to buy for the baby?
Yeah.
And while I was walking around there, I had the feeling I was not doing good because I had the feeling I had to buy everything that they had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that gave me a bit of feeling that I didn't do it good.
Yeah. And for me it was completely opposite. Again, I think we have had I think a couple of episodes for sure about intercultural differences, also other episodes where it comes up. And this episode is no different. So you already see from different cultures and upbringing how you react to this particular situation. So we both went to like a very famous baby shop that is close by where we live. And you just mentioned that you felt the need or you felt that certain things you really need to buy or really need to have.
Yeah.
While for me it was like, all this stuff is not really needed. Like, why are we here? Like, we should just get out of here.
Yeah.
I had that feeling. So, and why do we think like this? So let's get started with your thinking. Where does it come from? The urge, or in Dutch it's called like druk, like the pressure that you need all that stuff for a baby.
Now, I think the most important thing is that on the internet you find different kind of lists with things you need for the baby.
Yeah.
And when you look at these lists, there are a lot of things on that list.
Yeah.
So that already gives you the feeling that you need to buy that. Mm-hmm. And you hear other people around you that are having babies and you see what they are buying and what they are using.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I ask other people, other parents with babies, like, did you use everything you bought?
Yeah.
And they always said, yes, most of it I'm buying.
Yeah.
Most of it most of it I'm using. So that gave me the feeling that, okay, then I also have to buy these things. Like if they are using it, then I will also need it.
Yeah.
And then we also went to that shop and then I see all that stuff around. And I also remember that I was a bit overwhelmed with all the stuff. And you just had the feeling, we don't need this, let's go.
Yeah, I just wanted to get out of there because I really didn't see the point, like in most of the stuff. I would say, okay, some stuff is really needed. It's even safe to have certain stuff. If, for example, like we recently got a second-hand car due to some like you had to frequently also go for hospital visits, and it was just nice to have the car at this moment. So when you have a car, you also need a baby seat. It's just compulsory by law.
In Netherlands it is.
In Netherlands it's compulsory by law, so you need that. But do you really have to buy the latest, the most expensive one in like which is brand new? That I don't know. We have one now, a second-hand one, very like it's not expensive at all. It's quite good still. It's functioning. So like I think more in that direction. Like I see if something is functional and if we really need them. And a lot comes also from my upbringing in India, I would say. Yeah,
because I remember that a lot of times we had some discussion that I said, oh, we will need this.
Yeah.
And then you said, I never had that as a baby, so do we really need it?
Yeah.
And when you said these things to me, I started thinking about it. Do we really need it?
One example I remember is like we had quite a lot of discussions in the beginning, but I think it was also like because of the cultural differences.
Yeah.
But one that stuck to my mind is of the baby bed and the baby box. So it's very common for people to have a baby box in the living room and a bed like in the you have many different types of bed. Yeah. But the one we have is that can be attached to the mother's side. It can be open on one side. I don't really know exactly how it's called in English.
Like co-sleeper.
Yeah, it's a co-sleeper. Yeah. So, but most of them are quite light or they have wheels. And I told you that
and you asked me what is the difference between the thing like the sleeping bed in the living room and the sleeping bed for at night. And I said, I don't know.
No, and maybe there is a difference, but the thing is, it's both of them are for a baby to sleep, to relax, and you sometimes also hear or see people who are having a baby box, but the baby is never like really sleeping in it. Because there can be many reasons. The baby doesn't like to be in there. It can be that they are concerned that it will get dirty or something, there can be many reasons. And I didn't really see the need for having like 2 beds in our house, especially, and it also comes from like being an advocate for minimalism, so having as less stuff as possible. That's the last thing that I would also want for the child as well, to be surrounded by loads of stuff around the house. And in the last few weeks we have also seen documentaries and things about babies and research that says that the more stuff you have around babies, it will drive them crazy. It will not be good. Also with toys, like they say, the best is to have one toy to focus at one time, and the best learning happens because of the interaction of you and the baby and the toy as a medium. So you cannot really give a toy to a baby and expect that the baby will play itself or learn and grow, like also their brain grow just because of that. But it's mostly the interaction. So why buy like hundreds of toys for a baby? And you see those pictures coming by also a lot of times, that all of them are lying on the floor at one point, and there's frustration on both sides, because the child doesn't know what to focus on. The parents are thinking, what a mess you made there. So like, for me, like I want to be as minimalist as possible, which I also learned like in the last few years. I don't know how it is for you.
I think about that we were thinking similar. Like that we didn't want to have too much stuff. Maybe that had also to do with that we are not living that big. Like our house is not that big.
It's just it's 50 square meters. I think we discussed it also in a previous podcast.
And we are having one sleeping room, so the baby will also sleep with us. So we were not having that much space for all the stuff, but we also didn't want it that much stuff.
No. I'm a bit too late today to like channelize a podcast in like outlines. I know.
We directly went deep into
right. But that's not a problem. Like I like this kind of a conversation, but like to mention a few things that we would focus on here is like we'll see. The topic is, of course, are children really that expensive? So this is a good one to start with. Like we'll break down the cost to see like what the one-time expenses are at the beginning. For example, clothes, baby care products, baby room, which we don't have because the baby will be in our room, but still the stuff that we bought for that. And the total costs amounting, then ongoing expenses, like you have like a baby pram, for example. We are not going to have that as well. Might be shocking to some people. I never had one when I was young. I didn't have a baby pram. A car seat, we have that. We bought it secondhand. Nappies, for example. I'm mentioning it also like a little bit before so that people know. Like we are also going to have the reusable nappies, so that we wash them and reuse them, like the cotton ones instead of the throwaway ones, which we find is also really bad for the environment, and they're expensive. And childcare, like these are certain costs that, like a lot of times when mothers, they have to go to work when the child is just 3 or 4 months old, and if the mother is working, at that point she gets back to work. So we talk about it, then we go to the impact of children on the finances. How much do parents in the Netherlands, will take as an example, typically spend on the children? How does it impact their finances? Then we, in the end, we go to debunking some myths. We like doing that. Are children really that expensive? We try to answer that question. And is buying all that stuff really necessary to be a good parent. And then we just try to conclude all those points. So starting with it, I think you were, before the podcast, you mentioned a few amounts to me, which I made a note of, but I would like to hear from you about all the one-time expenses that people in Netherlands in general, like a family of two, like a couple incurs. So would you like to mention a few numbers there?
Yeah, and it's a research that like a good organization in the Netherlands did. And you already said like clothes, and they're mentioning the amount that for your first baby, for the first 1-2 months, that most parents spending around 150 euros on clothes.
Yeah.
I think that we can mention here that we spent maybe 20 euros.
Yeah.
And that is because we got a lot of second-hand clothes from people around us.
Mm-hmm.
And we also think that children are growing so fast. Like every month they need new clothes because they are growing so fast.
Yeah.
So we think it's really a waste of money to buy everything new.
Right. And I think some people would also might think, like, I can understand that, okay, that's good for you that you can do it so cheap and you're fine with secondhand stuff from other people, but they cannot really stand that their children are getting like old clothes from children who have worn it before. And there's a lot of like thinking around it. But for us, the main reason for doing this, of course, you feel good when you save money, but people often forget the sustainability aspect for it, because like every piece of clothes that is made new, cotton, processing it's costing a lot of energy, it costing a lot of resources and water to produce. And if there are so many already circulating around, why not just reuse them?
And also really good to know is that children, they wear the clothes for a few times.
Yeah.
Because they are growing so fast. So maybe the item you have for your kid, they maybe wear it 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 times, and then they are too big.
Yeah.
And I also see the clothes we got from people around us, they look like they are new. Because especially babies, they don't get dirty that much.
Some of them, I would even mention, they had the tags on still. So people buy in bulk, like maybe there's some offer, 2 + 1 free or something like that. And then as it happens with like us as well, like I mean, as I like now just shop at like secondhand stores. Yeah. But before, when I was also like in this phase where I was buying clothes, like offers and discounts were really attracting me at that moment. So it's the same for children as well. For children clothes, people say, okay, we buy this cloth in different colors, but there's often just one favorite color that people use, and the other two, they just keep lying in the closet. Yeah, so that's something about clothes. Then they also talk in that research about like care for the baby, but I don't really know what they... Care products, care products can range from, it's very difficult to come up.
Maybe
now.
The bathtub where they're using to wash the baby. I don't know exactly
all
what they
the
mean.
Stuff that you really need. But again, if you buy everything new, it will cost almost 200 euros. They say 180 euros. And then there's the baby room, which costs around 400 euros.
And that's the average, because I remember when we went into the baby shop, we saw also rooms for like 1,000 euros.
Right. And what I don't remember having like a baby room, and I think our baby is also not going to get it. So I'm not even sure if babies complain about that. I don't think so. But and the funny part was that in Netherlands, like there's a caregiver that comes to your place in the first few days,
first week,
and before, during the pregnancy they come once for an intake where they sit down and talk to you, and the advice is to keep the baby in your room, like especially in the first few weeks.
Yeah, but that's the advice now, because my mom told me when she was having me and my sister, the advice from the caretaker was do the baby as soon as possible to their own room.
Yeah.
So that advice is also changing all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in India, it never changed, I think.
No. But if you even look at research, like there's a lot of fear about people, like, okay, you'll spoil the baby by keeping it close to you, by cuddling the baby. But I find all that real like really crap, to be honest. Like all that talk, because even if you look at research, I believe in that, because there are a lot of people have committed their whole life towards studying babies, and I would rather take something from them than someone who randomly speaks something out or out of based on like one or two experiences from friends or family. Yeah. So you cannot spoil a baby, full stop. And that's the moment when they're a baby that you should give all the love that you can in that moment, and you should not think that you are spoiling it in any way, because
I also read somewhere that because the baby is for 9 months, like in the, how you say, womb?
Yeah, in the womb, yeah.
When they're coming out, they don't even know that they're a separate person.
No.
So they really still feel attached to their mom.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting when you go, like, I think we can have a very different, like a new episode on this part, and maybe even invite a guest who has a lot of knowledge about it. But we know someone who shared a story, and we know this as well from when we read about it also on the internet, that in a lot of cultures, when the babies are born, like they don't directly guide the baby to where the breast is for the milk. But babies are really, they know how to find the milk. So a lot of babies, it takes time, but they can crawl for the milk. They know where to find it.
Yeah.
So that's already quite unique. Like the connection, although they are out of the body, but they know where the mother is and where they can get food. So they just crawl to that place just by themselves.
Yeah, I always also find it really special to hear. But to come back to the money, they say in that research that the average family is spending on a newborn baby, on their first newborn baby, and its average is around 750 euros.
Yeah. And this is just the beginning.
Yeah, and then you have a lot of extra costs. Like Amit already mentioned, like the baby pram.
Yeah.
Here they say here they say 520, but what did you see?
I saw around a baby pram for like 2,000 euros. So it's even more than our second-hand car. Like it's in the range. Like you can buy a car from that money. Like in Netherlands, it's crazy, because there are no upper limits anymore. Like they have the most expensive hi-fi, I would even say, gadgets for baby at this moment. Like it's crazy. And then you have to really ask yourself if you really need them. And then there's a car seat, and then you have to buy like the safety Isofix bottoms for it. It can cost up to 200 euros, just the bottom of the seat. Then if you are using like the unsustainable reusable nappies for the child, it costs around 35 euros a month. In Indian rupees, it's just 3,000 rupees a month. It's just crazy if you see in currency terms. Then there are childcare costs. But to put into perspective, because people think there are so many costs, give us more bigger perspective. Parents give out 15% of their income on average when they have their first child, and then I'm talking about a couple.
Yeah.
And when there are two children, it goes up to 25% of the income. That is
so when the second baby comes,
that's 1/4 of the income of like parents. But we think it doesn't have to be that way, because a lot of those things you can minimize.
Maybe it's good to mention, like, what do we have? Because we bought everything we need for now.
Yeah.
And you already mentioned like we are having like a co-sleeper.
Yeah.
We are having, how do you mention that?
Everything is second-hand. It's nice to mention.
Yeah, everything.
Except a few small things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the co-sleeper we are having something for like changing diapers. Like how is that? Kind of closet. It's like a small closet, a low one.
Yeah, it's just a IKEA closet, like with like 3 compartments, four compartments in there. We have all the baby stuff, the clothes, and on the top you can change the diapers.
Yeah.
With a small mattress, also second hand.
Yeah.
But the bed sheet is new that we bought. But we decided to buy new.
Some things are also a bit difficult to buy.
Yeah, with some things it's quite difficult, and it's an ongoing process. We also are learning in our journey to live more sustainable, like in general. So some things we are not that strict upon, but surely the bigger expenses we try to minimize the expenses as well. And in the process we try to be more sustainable by reusing stuff. Yeah.
So that's what we are having. What else do we have? Like the car seats you already mentioned.
Yeah.
We are having something to carry the baby, because we are not having like the baby pram, but
carrier,
we are to carry it ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that are the main and biggest
things. A baby
things.
butt.
Oh yeah, a baby butt.
So the baby can take a nice bath. Also second hand with a stand, so that you don't have to sit on the floor.
Yeah, but what they are mentioning here is that like the average for the basic stuff is like around $750, but then all the extra things they don't even mention.
It comes up,
It just can go up like for double.
Yeah.
I know that we spend around €500, I think even a bit less, for everything that we need.
Yeah.
And this is also including our washable, like reusable diapers.
Yeah.
We can use like till the baby is not needing them anymore.
Right.
So in that way, we try to say with this that it can be cheaper than what they mention on the internet. And of course you can buy everything new. And if you buy everything new, you also have like price differences. Like you mentioned the baby pram for like €2,000. Yeah. You can also get them new for maybe €300.
Let's just put things in perspective, because just a while back I mentioned that like as a couple, like just imagine that with one child, they are spending 15% of their income.
Yeah.
So imagine 2 working parents working full time, earning like together €70,000, so 35,000 per person, or it's divided among the husband and wife, however you want to see, but around €70,000 if they make in a year. That means that the amount that they pay on the child per year is already €10,500 in 1 year.
So almost €1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like around €800 a month.
Yeah. And
that's a lot.
That's really a lot of money. Like especially seeing, and we also have a video about it, that our monthly expenses are €1,500 a month.
Yeah.
We have a YouTube video about it, and also how we do it. Like we are also not living in a very big house, so, and that's also not going to change. Like, by the way, that's the biggest expense that comes. Like now we talk really about babies, infants, but if you talk really about children, because that's the topic, like are like children really that expensive?
Yeah.
So like if you count from like a child from 1 day or 0 to say around 20 years, and now it's going even more up as children stay longer because of all the problems on the housing market. They can cost up to €400,000 in the whole period, just because you have to move bigger. And again, these are the unspoken rules in the society that every child needs to have their own sleeping room. You need a bigger family car. You need to go on more expensive holidays. You can name everything. And if you see all those amounts, it's just crazy. And not only the amounts, again, getting back to the sustainable aspect of it, which is not at all sustainable. All the new stuff, all the new things that need to be built to support one single baby.
I also remember that when we told people about that we were expecting a baby, some people were asking us, "Oh, are you going to move to another house?"
Yeah, that was a really common question, like from people we know.
Yeah.
But for me it was a bit easier like to answer it, because also the culture difference. I was born and brought up in a house that was not bigger than the house that we are living now in, with like 8 people. And like I never had my own room growing up. I had to share it always with my grandmother, my sister. Only around, I think, when I was 16 that I got a room for myself. Then my sister continued sharing it with my grandmother. But it was very different, like and like in comparison to how it's done in the Netherlands.
Yeah, because I had my own room since I was born.
Yeah.
And for me, 8 or 10 people in such a small house is a bit intense for me.
Yeah.
But a small baby living here with us is really no problem for me. Maybe even 2 children would be possible in my eyes. We even have a neighbor. He is from Afghanistan, right? Yeah. He is living in the same kind of house as us, and he's living there with his wife and 3 children, right? Yeah, so it is possible, we know.
It is, but I think in a lot of cultures it has been made to look in a bad way, to really live closer to each other, to share resources. And I already mentioned the impact of children on finances, like like I told you, like it can cost up to 400,000 euros if they are living up to the age of 23 at home. Yeah. We'll share all the links with the numbers that we talk about, like in our blog, with the podcast. There would also be the links with all these articles.
And for people who are not coming from the Netherlands, it's maybe good to know that children upon 18 years, they don't have to pay for school.
No, that's right. They either they have to, if they want to go somewhere like to a university, they can take like after 18 like student loans. That's also the case in America and many other different countries. Sometimes the parents pay for the tuition as well in many cases, but up to the age of 18, like education, unless you are going to private school, it's free, of course. And you are also getting like some money from the government depending on the age of the child. You get like every quarter compensation from the government. It starts from, I think, around 250 euros in a quarter for like a child up to like 2 years, and then there are different age brackets.
They calculate it in a way that when your child becomes older, they want to do, for example, they want to go on a football or another sport, or they want to play. They just want to do different things, and that is costing more money. So you get a bit more from the government. Okay.
I think we talked about quite a lot of different topics, and to conclude, children really don't have to be that expensive. It really depends on how you want to raise your child.
It's, of course, they are costing some money. Like you cannot avoid that. They cost, there are some things.
This links also to a previous podcast that we talk about, are we with too many people on the planet, and also about resource use, because I remember one point that we discussed quite in detail in that podcast was about that it's not about having children, but it's about what kind of upbringing you give that child. Because an average person in America, for example, or any developed country, is using 30 times the resources than compared to a developing nation in Africa or somewhere in South Asia. So then you can easily see, like, it's about we humans and our use of resources that should be at the center of attention, instead of putting focus on population growth. and sustainability. There can be a sustainable population growth, and their population growth, like I read a recent article about it as well, that it's supposed to be less than expected. Like all the estimations that have been made about till the end of the century, our population is going to be even under it. What's going to have the biggest impact is that the population that we have, their consumption is going to increase. So yeah, that was a little bit of connecting it to the previous podcast. Any final thoughts that you have on this topic?
Yeah, when we started to talk about this topic, we didn't really had an idea where we would talk about.
No, that's why it was a little bit.
So maybe it's a bit messy
everywhere. But I think people get a little bit of idea of why we talk about this topic and what we think about it. I think we made it very clear what we think about it as well.
And to answer my thinking from the beginning, is buying all the stuff necessary to be a good parent? First I thought yes, because I got that feeling.
And that was because of your upbringing in the Netherlands, generally.
But now I think a lot of things you don't need.
No, majority of it not.
Yeah.
And what you need is a lot of love, and that's something. It's also quite funny that we asked on Instagram this question to everyone, that is it enough what we have? And the best answer I remember was from someone like, all the stuff that you buy for a child, there is no upper limit, there can never be.
Yeah.
But love is something that you can never give more of. So concentrate on that and give as much of it as possible, unconditional love and affection, and that will really make them like good human beings later. And that's what all parents want. So I'm looking forward to our journey. Hopefully, like in our next season, we will already have some experiences to talk about.
And what is also good to know is that when the baby is there, you can always buy something if you still think you need it.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to go and live in a cave with a baby how we did thousands of years back. But be conscious of your consumption pattern and really think that, is this something that is going to make me and my baby happy? That is a question I would like end our current season on.
Yeah.
And we'll be back, I don't know exactly when, but with a new, fresh season, with new episodes, new topics. Feel free to send us some ideas that you would like us to talk about. And we'll see you next time, and wish you a nice evening ahead.